Babe of the day. Babe of the day. Lee Armstrong, Part 2. I had a whole lot of pictures of Lee Armstrong that I just couldn't get in one video, and they're great pictures, so I decided to make a second video. Most of these come from the movie Leprechaun 3. If you haven't seen the film and you want to watch it, there will be some spoilers ahead, but I'll try not to give too many spoilers. This series of pictures comes from the early moments of the movie when Tammy's car breaks down. She hitches a ride and meets the out-of-towner Scott. Lee knows how to wear a shirt, and this is a pretty good look, but we only see it until she gets in the casino. From then on, it's the magician's assistant outfit, with or without the white coat. As I mentioned in the last video, Tammy worked a thankless job as a magician's assistant in Las Vegas. She has aspirations of becoming a magician and doesn't want to lose her job, so she puts up with far more than she should. Initially, she doesn't treat Scott too nice, but once you see what she's going through, it's understandable. This next set of pictures is from when Scott follows Tammy and tries to get in the casino. Yes, he's trying to get to know her better, but what he really wants is to get in that casino because he's underage. She reluctantly lets him in, but tells him just to have a look-see and not to gamble. Here are some snaps from when Tammy shows up late for work. We meet the creepy characters of Fazio the magician, Loretta the casino worker, and Mitch the casino owner. This is really a trifecta of terrible, with Mitch being the best one, but only because he wants to get it on with Tammy. Cleavage is Tammy's friend, and thanks to this outfit, we see a lot of it. There is really no good way for her to hide it, as you'll soon see. The last picture in this set is a long shot from when Fazio and Tammy do their act. I thought it looked cool. If we didn't know Fazio was such a hack, we could almost be excited about watching this performance. These pictures are of Tammy wearing a white coat over her outfit, split between two scenes. The first two pictures are from when Tammy discovers Scott has been gambling and she's less than pleased. The rest are from when Tammy is accidentally put under a love spell by Mitch, the casino owner, and turns ultra bimbo. As you can see, the white coat, unless it's totally closed, does little to cover her up, and, in some moments, makes her look bigger. This is a funny part in the film. Tammy is now in full bimbo mode, and seduces Mitch in his suite. He has no idea what's going on, because he didn't cast the spell on purpose. Tammy won't remember anything she did here. Her striptease routine is really something, and just when she is about to bear it all, the spell is broken. Tammy thinks she's being taken advantage of. Mitch is confused. It all becomes very messy. She gets fired for being a tease and kneeing him in that most tender area. But there are no other witnesses to the firing, and Mitch won't live long enough to tell anyone else. To be truthful, Mitch is not really evil, just lecherous and corrupt. Fazio and Loretta are far more wicked. Moving on to the next set of pictures, here are some more of Tammy in the white coat. She has just had her first run-in with the Leprechaun. She and Scott, whose appearance is starting to change, then go to the pawn shop where the action started at the beginning of the movie. No matter how critical you may or may not be towards the Leprechaun movies, you do have to admit one thing. They do a lot with their small budgets. There is always a lot of activity, different sets, cool effects, and good actors. Some B-movies look like they are filmed by a college student in his basement, but the Leprechaun movies are done a bit better. Here's some more of Tammy in her white coat. She and Scott are at the hospital because he's turning into a leprechaun. By this point, Tammy likes Scott quite a bit and she's worried about him. There's a great running scene where she goes to check on him and wanders into the morgue. Then she's magically caught by the Leprechaun and strapped to a gurney. This is the closest that Tammy ever comes to getting killed, and when I first watched this movie, I was hoping that didn't happen. That would have actually ruined the movie for me, and I wouldn't have watched it further. If you're familiar with the series, you know that the Leprechaun is an equal opportunity killer. This picture should have been on the poster. Tammy is holding the medallion to ward off the Leprechaun. The way she looks here, and the way she's standing, is a pretty cool moment in the movie. It should be an iconic scene. Here are some snaps from the final showdown at the casino. Scott, already half a leprechaun, uses Fazio's torch to defeat the monster, but in a rather unique way. If you know this series, you'll know that almost every Leprechaun movie is standalone, entirely unrelated to the others. The Leprechaun almost always gets killed. At the very least, he gets stopped. This is one of the more interesting, inventive kills. By the time he gets killed, he needs it. The Leprechaun has been really brutal in this movie. He tears Tammy's white coat, allowing us a better look at her awesome costume for the rest of the movie. Once the Leprechaun goes bye-bye, Scott immediately turns back to normal. This is the final moment of the film when Scott and Tammy leave the casino as a couple. A lot of horror movies don't have happy endings, but this one does, and I like it. The only thing I would have liked to see is if Tammy ever made it as a magician, or if she even stays in Vegas. It would have been nice for the filmmakers to include one short scene, set sometime after the events of this film, to show how Scott and Tammy are thriving. That's my opinion, and it's a good one, darn it! I didn't have a whole lot of pictures left over of Lee Armstrong in Magic Island, but I wanted to show off the snaps I had. In that movie, she played Gwyn, the female member of a trio of swashbuckling sailors that fights Blackbeard and his pirates. Unlike Leprechaun 3, this movie is for kids, so you don't see cleavage or real violence. Lee is, however, very attractive in this movie, and still a sexy, interesting character. I love the accent she uses in this film. This is an entirely different person from Tammy Larson. I recommend this movie to families and even for yourself. You can never get too old to watch a good family flick on your own. Once again, I am proud to proclaim Lee Armstrong as a Babe of the Day, Babe of the Day,